try to be short. But, the first thing, I've got to thank you all for coming here on this bleak winter's day. I don't know who chose a wedding for this date, but it's very nice of you to come and warm us all up with your best wishes for Becky and Alex to celebrate their special day. Toast come at the end. Google told me that I'm supposed to, as FOB, Father of the Bride, say a few words by way of particularly to her in-laws to be. But given that these two have been together for 10 years, that seems a little bit a waste of time. So I thought it'd make more sense if I told you a bit about Becky's early life before she ever came to Bedford. And some of that might you might understand then, oh, that's why she's the way she is. Well, I probably should start again by saying, Becky, it's wonderful to be here as your dad. And we're so proud of you as well. And of Alex as our new son-in-law, who we've got to know over the last 10 years. We're so happy for you. It's been such a lovely day so far as well. Till my speech. So, Becky, think back to bleak November night in 1991. For those of you who can think that far back, let alone remember it. Rebecca Louise Dale, that when she was brought into this world, 22nd of November, and it's a day we remember rather too vividly sometimes. It was a Friday night. Viv had gone in to be induced on the due day, and you had your first session of drugs in the morning, Friday morning. Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, the consultant visited the ward and politely said, oh, you haven't had the baby yet. You can't have it now until Monday because I'm off to play golf in France for the weekend. Right, so she didn't get her other half of medication that she was supposed to have. But nonetheless, Becky was proving to be an impatient child. Sometimes, patience isn't their strength. So within about a couple of hours of that speech from the consultant, contractions started coming quite quickly, and saw an odd nurse who happened by and said, she's getting contractions. Go sort out a place for her to give birth, and then I'll come back and get you. And then about an hour later, nobody came. There was nobody in sight. It was a bit like today outside the hospital. There was nobody in sight, and the place where we were, sort of waiting room, was about, if you imagine the end of this barn and beyond, was where the maternity ward was. And we were thinking, what do we do now? Well, I was thinking that, I was trying not to panic. I was thinking, well, something will come soon. When they didn't, we finally decided contractions about 1 every 30 seconds, 1 every 15 seconds, and then thought there's nothing for it, but we'll have to leg it. So she started walking down this long corridor every 15 seconds. We had to stop while Viv was hanging on for dear life. Men won't probably know what was like, apart from me from saying that. So we had this sort of stop-start voyage down to the room. And the only good thing I can say is that we got there at least half an hour in time. Becky was born without any problems, luckily. Half an hour. I mean, I was traumatised. You didn't have any pain for her either, did you? Completely unmedicated. So into the world she came, and like a little ray of sunshine, After that, it was plain sailing. Better stop now. Yes, I mean, I think what I should point you to now is that there's a little sort of slideshow going on the screen down there, which is probably the best way to portray Becky's life as a young girl. The picture, there's probably about a 10-minute revolving slide thing there, which shows you that there's a goody little shoes that wouldn't say boo to a goose. But she wasn't a pink loving, dolly cuddling child at all. She didn't bother with dolls. It was action men, toy guns, and the darker arts, firing catapults, smashing windows, tree climbing, trespassing around the neighbourhood. She did have an older brother, I have to say, who had a good part in all of that. But she was quite good at hiding it from the teachers at school, luckily. So it was always, oh, Becky's so lovely. She was doing really well in class. So parents' evenings were an absolute dream, no problems at all. So anyway, those were, I don't know if this is any good actually, those were her formative years at junior school. And in that time, she started very young. She liked, it was obvious she liked drawing. She used to draw little animals non-stop. I used to pick her up from school sometimes when I had to pick up and I had to go back to work with her. She'd sit quite happily for a couple of hours in my office at another desk, just drawing little animals. So every day took home masses of little animals on bits of old printouts there. What else did you pick up at school? Badminton, sports days. Luckily she had the option to learn badminton. They picked her into one of the Kent development squads to learn badminton. You may see some parallels here with the Wilsons. So she went from sort of Kent's under-11s through to under-15s before schoolwork became too important. Alex said, and then she also got interested in pets, the usual pets, hamsters, guinea pigs. I want a dog. And then so we managed to sort of hold that off for a few months. The dogs aren't just for Christmas, and you've got to think about it, which breed we get, and all of that. She got her way in the end, and so we ended up with a massive little dog called Hugo. A love, first love of your life, Hugo. Born 2nd of February 2002. An easy date for anyone to remember. So Hugo the golden retriever.
Alex has never quite matched up.
He's immortalised anyway. You can see his pictures on the board there. Moving on from junior school, Becky got to the grammar school, secondary school, which was well done. It was clear very early on she liked art, which she always liked. So she did art, design, biology, anything that didn't involve maths. And that's why they're such a good pairing. Alex loves his maths. Can do it. Becky hates maths and lets Alex do it. So with the art, for A levels she did art. Go on then, you tell me. Graphic, no, not graphic design. It was product design. It was called that. But you liked your art best. And she was lucky at A level year. One of her pieces or a triptych was put in. She didn't know that. I don't think that he knew your art teacher put it into a national competition, and she got into top 10 for it to be displayed at the Saatchi Gallery in London, which got us all a trip there. She had a work display there, and we got to rub noses with like. You never told your thoughts, no, right? If you wait 10 minutes, you can see a picture of that screen down there of us all standing in front of her work. But yeah, we met Mary McCartney. Well, she was in the same room, and Charles Saatchi, we think it was, the one who wasn't very kind to Nigella.
Yeah.
No. So that was A-levels. Cut a long story short, she decided, thankfully, to go to Reading University to study graphic design and typography, get it right, typography, because she wanted a career that would actually deliver some money rather than an arty-farty fine arts kind of thing where you're having to sell your work for the rest of your life. And that's what basically helped going to Reading and helped her get a job in Bedford. So that aspect brought her here because her bosses-to-be annually visited Reading and looked at the third-year students' artwork on their final exhibition. And the students had to be there, so they got the chance to chat to potential employers, and they quite liked Becky and another of her friends. So offered her an interview, passed the interview, and then ended up 2 months later or 3 months later in Bedford. Luckily with your friend as well, so you got a flat together on the Paris, and then she joined the local badminton club, which was just around the corner. And one day, somebody went there to play badminton, and their eyes met across a crowded badminton court. Well, I think that's more or less brought everything up to the bit of Becky that you all know. So, very briefly, I hope that's actually told you a few things about her, but there's a lot more on that screen. Now, I think I've told you how she got to Bedford, and as father of the bride, I'm supposed to offer advice to newlyweds again, slightly late. But all I can say is carry on as you have been going. And you've done it fairly well so far, apart from the getting the orders of things a little bit. But it seems to be working for you. I'm sure it can continue. I mean, you work really well together as a couple. I mean, Becky's lovely, and so's Alex. So, I think that's all I have to say, so I can pass everything on to the groom. Just one last word that I forgot to say, which is very remiss of me, but I'd just like to say thank you to Wendy for being such a lovely proxy mum for Becky the last few years.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Such a lovely daughter-in-law.
Oh yes, sorry. I must toast my daughter Becky, Alex, and the happy couple. Happy couple.